Hello and welcome to the Hold the Line podcast. I'm your host, Mike Alvarez, also known as Osmologist. Tonight we'll be taking a break from covering the story aspects of the Mass Effect universe, and instead talk about the new addition to the game introduced in Mass Effect 3, multiplayer. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer introduces a new element to the game. In it, players take on the role of various races in the Mass Effect universe and tackle enemies in a cooperative mode in an effort to help Commander Shepard help the galaxy prepare for the oncoming Reaper onslaught. Although the introduction of multiplayer to Mass Effect isn't without some controversy, which we'll be discussing, I've personally found it to be one of the better additions to the game's setting. Tonight we'll go over some of the basics of multiplayer and hopefully provide you, the player, with some tips and tricks on how to play multiplayer at any level of experience. So sit back, relax, and let's talk some Mass Effect. With me tonight are Benny from the HTL editorial team and HTL newsletter editor.
Hi, I'm Benny. What's up? Yeah.
I also have with me Andrew, aka Aoshi, the PC game editor for LazyTechGuys.com.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Also Mike, aka Rage Dog, aka Quad.
Okay, yeah.
And the Batarian Queen and Everglorious Tanks.
Batarian. Hi.
Awesome. How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good. Awesome.
Nice. Just a quick little bit because I know Rage Dog slips into this sometimes and calls me Shock and Awe. So those that are listening and for whatever reason get confused, we tend to use our multiplayer nicknames from time to time. That's also for Benny, who hasn't played multiplayer with us yet. And one thing, actually, before we go into Benny's quick little portion, one thing I want to get from each of the guests as we do these podcasts is I want you guys to tell me real quick what your Commander Shepard, what your main Commander Shepard was throughout the Mass Effect universe. So, for instance, my Commander Shepard is a spacer war hero infiltrator who played mostly Paragon, although did have a bit of a mean streak. Benny.
Okay, people find this weird because I like playing male Shepard, but yeah, I think Mark Mear's voice is pretty cool. So anyway, my Shepard is a spacer. Wait, no, did I get it right? Spacer, war hero, and a biotic. Most of the time he's Paragon, but I like to do those renegade interrupts where you throw that guy out of the window and stuff. It's pretty fun. And my male Shepard's pretty much of a womanizer, and he goes after Liara and Miranda. That's pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Hey, I don't know. I think we're all kind of following a same type of theme here, but I think it was because of Gundam and all those anime, outer space type of things. I kind of went with the spacer background as well, war hero, only because I think all those other games and all these other things that kind of played into that fact. I overall mostly played him as a Paragon. I actually tried maxing him out, but I unfortunately did a couple renegade things, which I didn't mind because I was like, oh, that's cool, because in this latest one they kind of made it to where it's more aggressive. It's not necessarily a bad thing to do renegade options.
Right.
So I thought it was pretty cool, But yeah, he's mostly not necessarily a goody two shoes, but I would say he's more like Charles Bronson.
Nice.
If I could make him that way.
All right, and Quad?
I was an Earthborn soldier, war hero. Didn't choose a soldier for whatever reasons people think, oh, a soldier class. I chose it because I didn't want the biotic or tech power help. I wanted just strictly, he's a normal guy who just happened to, work up his rank, and so I did strictly soldier all the way for a normal guy who saves the universe.
Nice. And tanks?
Well, I'm not very special because I also went with a spacer war hero soldier, but mine was a FemShep tank Shepard, and that's pretty much it. She's Paragade, though, like most everyone else.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, it definitely seems to be quite a theme going on here with a bunch of Paragon Shepards. Although at least now, Andrew, did you play a soldier as well?
I did.
Okay.
Only because of playing the first Mass Effect, it kind of reminded me a lot of Ghost Recon. So I figured, well, that's kind of easy. It was kind of, for me, it was kind of easy to pick up on. So, third person, assault rifle, easy.
I feel so left out with everyone I talk to on these podcasts because I feel I've yet to play a soldier beyond 20 minutes of Mass Effect 1.
It's funny because I started off as a soldier even in multiplayer, but then I started to branch off into other classes because of these other three. So I'm actually starting to get into biotics. I'm starting to get into some of the support characters, and it's actually kind of fun.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've literally never played, whether it be single player and in multiplayer. I joke around about this because I've played my soldier twice, but somehow he's leveled up to 16 because of all the upgrades I've gotten. We'll go into the upgrades and stuff in a bit. Before we get too deep into this podcast, I'm going to turn things over to Benny real quick with some news updates and the goings-on in the HTL community.
So, we just recently concluded Operation Tsunami. It's an initiative featured in the International Business Times and Forbes magazine. Basically, that initiative includes it's an umbrella of all the other postcards initiatives formed into one, so that we could create a more resounding impact towards BioWare and EA. Hopefully this is a successful event because this is our last push for the extended cut DLC. So, but I think it went pretty well. Aside from that, we have some upcoming initiatives coming up, we have Operation Recognition, where this guy's compiling videos about HTL members talking about their love for Mass Effect. You know how we've always tried to make initiatives promoting what we want to the DLC demands and stuff. So this one would show BioWare or EA the warmer side of the fans. Aside from that, we have Find Miranda. This is an initiative that I personally planned out. It's because in the Mass Effect there was dialogue between Miranda and Shepard where Shepard promises to find Miranda, and amazingly other characters and their fan bases started to follow suit. We have Cadence Waiting and Time for Tally. So with all these three coming up, we decided to form an alliance. So Cadence Waiting, Find Miranda, and Time for Tally will all be sending their posters to BioWare all at the same time. And all of us have come up with cool posters, so I invite you to check them out in HTL and see what we've come up. And if you want to support us, please leave a comment and show your support. Hurrah! Well, that's it.
Great, thanks. All right, well, let's get rock and rolling into this. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes here. So I guess we're going to just jump right into the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. First thing I want to kind of go over is how does it tie into the single-player game? Actually, Quad, maybe you can fill us in on some of this.
With the single-player, multiplayer mix, and it's not very big as a lot of people have put it. It's just a second option. What I've heard is a lot of people say, oh, you can't get the full, I quote-unquote, ending unless you do multiplayer, but for a lot of people, they've actually pulled it off. Even without playing the previous two games, you can get all the points to get a complete ending. So the multiplayer is just a second option when it comes to a tie-in. But you can have the option of working towards a galaxy percentage, I guess you could call it.
Right.
To bring it up so that you have more of a chance to get the ending you desire in single player. Or you can also promote your character, which will give you 75 Alliance Forces points in the single player. But as we'll talk about later, it's not that big of a deal, and you might not want to necessarily do that. Multiplayer for the single player is completely an option, nothing more.
Okay, one thing I kind of want to go over real quick here is because when I was playing through the single-player campaign, I know that multiplayer affects your EMS rating, which is the percentage of forces that are that are affecting the ending. And when I got towards the end, I noticed that because I had it told to me that I basically needed at least 4,000 points.
5,000, I believe it is.
Well, it's 5,000 to get the grandpa talking at the end.
Yes.
Yes, but to get
No. I think that's the grandpa. No. Sorry, is it bad to jump in?
No. By all means, jump in. Please correct me.
Because I've been raging with these IGN wikis because they're like really, really wrong and stuff. I even rage like, this is wrong. Why are you put it here? Anyway, the space grandpa scene, you get that regardless of your EMS, just as long as you. It's like that's the rumored New Game Plus ending. So if you've played Mass Effect 2, and then you play Mass Effect 3, that comes out. But if you played Mass Effect 3 just as it is, you won't get it. But if you play Mass Effect 3 2 times, then you'll get the space grandpa ending. Yeah.
Or import your Mass Effect 2 character.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. So then what is it we need 5,000 points for?
The Shepherd breathing.
Shepherd breathing. Okay. And 4,000 points gets you what?
Synthesis?
Is it synthesis? Okay. So you need at least 4,000 to get you synthesis. Because I noticed, what I was getting at was that I had, over 7,000, but because only 50% was counting towards the end, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to reach the full 8,000 I would need so that I would have the 4,000 points to get all 3 colors. And so I ended up playing multiplayer trying to fill that in because I was just like, well, I want to make sure I at least I think I ended up getting up to 70 or 60 something percent, which allowed me to then safely go into the final couple missions, which you still end up getting a few points from, but I didn't quite know that at the time. So I wasn't sure it. Now, did any of you actually play through to the end before doing multiplayer?
Yes.
Yes, me. First time.
And were you able to get all 3 endings?
Yes, I was able to get all 3.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you're able to get all 3. You didn't have to do multiplayer, but you do play multiplayer now, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Just want to make sure. All right. And now I guess I kind of want to go over how you guys feel. I mean, obviously we're all multiplayer players, but I guess before you started playing multiplayer for Mass Effect 3, how did you guys feel about its inclusion into the game series?
Who goes first?
Anyone can
I'll
jump
go
in.
first.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, basically, because I actually did a review on the game and the demo, they pretty much did have it hyped up. I mean, it was pretty much advertised, on different forms of media to be the, galactic conclusion of the Shepard story arc. So, like I also stated on the actual review, I was on the edge of my seat. I actually could not put this game down. I actually almost ended up being late for work because of this game. So that's how good it was. But when I got to the end, I mean, with all, argument aside and everything, it just felt rushed. It didn't felt conclusive. It just left a total question mark in front of my face. And I had a friend who barely played the first one, never even touched the second one, watched the ending for the third game, and he was looking at me with this weird expression like, hey, do you know what's going on? I'm like, no, I have no idea. And the funny part is that when everybody gets to the ending portion with the catalyst, he only repeats the one thing once, and that was it. So.
Huh.
And it's like, what did he say?
Right. Right. Well, I guess what I'm kind of getting at here is for the inclusion of multiplayer into the series. One of the things that in looking at the press and stuff like that going into it and seeing the fan reactions to the inclusion of multiplayer, I mean, it's an obvious cash tie-in to EA's new business model of basically including multiplayer online portions to their games now, so that they can then draw more money in from players, selling them map packs and item upgrades for their multiplayer stuff, or if they're tying into other aspects of their online gameplay. And this is something that they've been saying for a little over a year now, if I'm not mistaken, that they're actively pursuing. It's kind of been their big push into this, like, it's not really a new market, but a new market for them. And they've added it to other games, and this isn't the first game to add multiplayer. Uncharted has been doing it. Assassin's Creed has been doing it. I played both those games. I honestly never touched multiplayer in any of those because there was no tie-in to the main game, or if there was, it was so minor or so minute that it didn't really make me want to play it. But this one, they kind of tied the story in a little bit enough, at least enough for me to give it a shot. And I was curious how that affected you guys, or at least your decision in playing multiplayer, or how you perceive multiplayer before you started playing Mass Effect 3.
I would say for me, just to kind of answer that question, it didn't affect me at all, because I was just like, oh, there's something new they're adding to it. Cool, I'll try it out, see what's going on, and I'll definitely try the single player because that's what most people are waiting for anyways on top of that. So, definitely wanted to get my, time in before I started, talking about it.
Right.
And I'm kind of similar, but it's kind of like, at first I was like, oh, that's cool, but then going through kind of the single player, and then kind of like a couple things, like I'm one of the people, I'm with many others, upset about Tally, especially the hand, and then the ending confusing me. I'm like, well, if I would have gotten a better picture of Tally or an actual face animation, I would have taken that over. I would have taken that over the multiplayer any day. But the multiplayer is also extremely fun. So,
yeah. And tanks.
Well, personally, I love co-op in almost like any game. So to find out that they had multiplayer for Mass Effect, which is a game that I have a lot of friends who actually played, the entire series and are totally into it, I was like, oh, freak, yes, like finally a game that we can all share our experiences together with in the co-op. And when the demo first came out, I could not stop playing multiplayer. Even though they didn't have everything unlockable, it was just something really fun. And I knew that it was going to be something that I really wanted in the game. So for me, it didn't bother me that they added co-op at all.
Okay.
And I wouldn't really say that it just detracted
right.
from the single player game.
Yeah, I certainly didn't find that it detracted. I know there are folks that, are up in arms about Mass Effect 3 in various aspects and so on, and kind of feel like development time could have better been spent on other aspects of the game and so on. But we know that it's a different group within BioWare that developed the multiplayer, and if I'm not mistaken, some of the changes that they made to the game in multiplayer actually affected how combat rolled out for the single player game, and overall improved the single player combat. So, all in all, I think multiplayer is fine, and actually probably one of the better portions of Mass Effect 3.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, let me go ahead and just jump right into just go straight into the tips and see if we can cover some tips and tricks for multiplayer, because one of the main reasons I invited you three was I believe one of the first times I got on to HTL and I jumped into the PC groups looking for players, and I jumped in with you guys, and I believe I think Blue was also involved, and I had just an absolute blast. Did a gold run, which I'd never been able to do before. I mean, I barely survived silvers, and just learned a lot, literally in a matter of like 2 or 3 sessions.
Same here, by the way. And I think it was close to the same time when Aoshi and Tanks joined up with each other. We just got on. I've never beaten a gold before, and especially Tanks here. And she's what we kind of call the pro, because she's the one who helped set us up. But like she'll mention, she started a noob, but she worked her way up. Once we got together, kind of like shared tips, shared what we do, what other people do, we all got stronger. We all got better, and we all have fun together.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can definitely tell you guys at least had some cohesion, which was great. Part of it's whole, like, making friends, or making contacts, be able to play with people. It's certainly been interesting. So I guess I'll go ahead and start off. Actually, Rage, maybe want to kind of go over some of the beginning, because you made this great document, which I'm going to go ahead and share with everyone in the podcast notes, and link up on holdtheline.com. And I kind of want to just go over some of the starting out tips for someone just fresh jumping into multiplayer.
Oh, well, we talked it over, and I started typing this up. So first thing we like to mention to all those pros out there, these are beginner tips. These are all beginner suggestions. So there's many ways you can play the game. We have proven that time and time again. There's many ways you can beat gold. There's many ways you can dominate and have the fastest. We've seen videos of Batarians with Claymores tanks, was it? Did they have Claymores?
Yes, they had Claymores.
And what was their time?
I don't remember. It was definitely
like
under
20
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we were trying to push for that.
So it's many ways you can do it. But these are beginner tips that are going to help those who just need that little extra boost in multiplayer.
Right.
That helped us.
Right.
So basics, for those who haven't played, there's 3 different difficulties: bronze, silver, gold. Your first objective, don't play gold. You want to start on bronze. It doesn't matter how good you think you are in single player, because it's all different in multiplayer. You need to get to know your maps and enemies all on bronze, and then start playing random maps with random enemies, getting that extra experience points when you do that, and getting used to it. Don't feel bad if you lose or die. I died on the first wave of bronze. I actually played gold first, which was my big mistake, and died after the first enemy. Big mistake. But I even died on the first wave of bronze because the multiplayer is just a little bit different interface. And even on the first few bronze games, so don't get disappointed if you die a lot. Play bronze for all low levels. I would say don't touch silver until your character's at least 7 to 10, and even then, get to know your other characters. Try the other classes. They're way different from Shepard and his squad mates, so you need to see which one you like. Like Aoshi pointed out earlier, I had only been on Soldier the whole time until multiplayer, and now I don't even touch Soldier on multiplayer.
Right.
It's completely different. You get to try out these new classes, these new setups, and you get to try out all these new combos and things you get to do that really changes your gameplay.
I just want to interrupt you real quick, because although you still get to choose from the 6 basic classes that Shepard can be in Mass Effect, they are limited. You basically really only get 3 power or 3 power groups, and then you get your alliance or racial standard buffs setting, and then you get fitness, which everyone, I think, it's basically the same for everybody, or nearly the same for everybody.
Yes, nearly the same. The only difference is like Krogans have rage, where it helps them with their melee.
Right. Okay. But for the most part, though, it's basically it's either increasing your melee or increasing your buffs. It's still the same structure as Mass Effect 3's talent trees, where the first 3 are straightforward buffs, and then levels 4, 5, and 6 all branch out, so you can choose one or the other within that tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're going to have the option once you reach level 20 in multiplayer to promote. Not suggested you do it. First, try out other characters, like we said, and it only gives you 75 points in the Alliance Forces if you want it for single player. But promoting really is only for when BioWare asks you for the commendation packs.
Right.
Or when you want to promote them so you can reset their powers if you don't have a power reset that you got from unlocking one of the packs that you have in the store.
Right.
Or even if you do and you just don't want to waste money finding more stupid respawn cards.
True.
Yes.
And it's just like some of the multiplayer games and first-person shooters. You just promote.
Prestiging.
Yeah, prestiging. You reset, you start over. And some people even like doing that. So if you like doing that, that's okay too. But just know that it's going to be all reset.
See, now one thing I've been preparing myself for is I've actually promoted over 6 characters already. And now, granted, before I met you guys, these were all just playing on bronze and just kind of like futzing around with different classes, dying an awful lot. And also like farming credits so I can buy more gear and so on. But one of the reasons I promoted them is because I'm kind of thinking ahead, thinking, in about 2 years when I want to play Mass Effect 3 again, for whatever reason, there may not be as many people playing multiplayer then. And I'm going to want to have that higher score so I don't have to worry about my EMS score later on. So I've been kind of like promoting like several, because I think at this point by promoting 6, I think I've already gotten more points than the Quarians give you in Mass Effect 3, or nearly as many as the Quarians give you.
Here's the problem I find with that. What if you want to play through the game without your stats being so high? What if you want to play to completely lose?
Wow, why would I want to do that?
Some people do.
I
To see
know.
the even worse endings.
There's YouTube for that.
That's
That
what I
is
was
one way
actually
to think
worried
about it, but I don't think most people would go that route, though.
Yeah. Although, I mean, it's certainly a valid point. Although I guess you could also technically create a new Origin account. Although I guess no, because the game registers to your Origin account.
Correct.
Yeah. Huh. That's actually probably an interesting question posed to BioWare at some point. It's like, can you reset this score? That'd be interesting. All right. Now, one of the things you mentioned about playing on bronze and leveling up, and kind of like go over each map, learn your characters, find out which character you enjoy playing. I know for myself, I play an infiltrator all the time in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I also played Vanguards and Sentinels a lot. Now, in multiplayer, though, 2 of the classes that I enjoy the most, I really enjoy the Infiltrator. It took me a little bit to get a handle of it 'cause it's a little bit different. But I love the Engineer and the Adept, 2 classes that in Mass Effect single-player campaign I couldn't stand because it was just like I was so squishy and so weak and relied on my my allies so much that I kind of just I didn't like playing it as much. But in multiplayer, these 2 classes kind of shine a little bit, at least for me they do. And I was curious what experiences you guys had. I mean, I know you guys mentioned mostly playing soldiers and then branching out now in multiplayer. How do you guys find these class experiences? And we'll start with tanks.
What? Why you gotta start with me this time?
Because you're the Batarian Queen, and
Okay.
I'm giving you a
Okay.
chance to talk about Batarians.
Okay. Well, now that you mentioned Batarians, I was about to say, well, in single player, I always played Soldier, but in multiplayer, I never touched Soldier. But now I have to say, I love my Batarian Soldier. I do. He is really fun. I'm actually really glad that they had the Resurgence DLC pack, although I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh, they're just giving you stuff to satiate you. Well, it's multiplayer, and it's the only thing pretty much keeping me on Origin at all. So, I mean, I think it was a smart move for them. It doesn't mean that we're just going to give up, but it is something that helped to extend the life of multiplayer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never played anything but Soldier in the single player games, but in multiplayer, I hardly ever touched my Soldier. I mostly play the Drell Adept or the Solarian Engineer and the Human Sentinel, which of course I never played anything like those classes in single player, and they are so much fun. It's ridiculous. Like, I wanted the Krogan Soldier for the longest time, but the first class that I got out of the starter pack or whatever you get when you first start multiplayer was a Drell Adept, and I didn't touch it for the longest time. And finally one day I was like, well, fine, whatever, I'll try it. And I just had so much fun with it. It's really, really interesting to try different classes in multiplayer and different races as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had a similar experience. And Andrew, how about yourself?
Yeah, like I said, I started with the soldier. It was pretty cool. I mean, the only thing is that as you got into the harder difficulties, it was just kind of like, man, I'm doing a lot more running away and shooting instead of charging and running. And I'm like, don't I have anything else besides these rockets? And then I, as I started playing with our group, playing the other different classes, it just kind of like, oh, when I tried the biotics, oh, he's doing a Hadouken. Hadouken time.
Jeez.
Sonic boom. But I mean, that's the great thing about multiplayer is it gets you to get out of your shell, because of the fact that when you're playing single player, regardless of whatever difficulty you're playing, it's sort of pre-scripted. Mm-hmm. Now, you could say that about the AI as far as multiplayer, like they're aggressively trying to kill you, but you're not by yourself.
Yeah.
So, the cool thing is your friends, they're going to back you up, but at the same time, they can make mistakes too. At least with the computer, it's kind of like, oh, he's going to kill him. Oh, he's got infinite. Oh, he's not falling over. Oh, no, he just fell over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I got to try out. I think my favorite right now is probably the Geth Engineer and probably what am I playing? I think the Sentinel. Yeah, Sentinel. I had to think about it. I was like, I played.
Yeah, Human Sentinel.
Yeah, he's got the Sonic Hadouken thing.
The Sonic Hadouken, that's what we're going to call
the
it.
guile
Okay.
beam.
Don't use the actual terminology. Let's call it the Sonic Hadouken.
Right. For those of you that don't know Sonic Hadouken, it's actually throw, and you just use that a lot.
It's got the same look.
It does.
Okay.
I'm like, wow.
I have to give the credit to Tanks too for that, because I would not touch the Asari. I was like, shh, no way, sorry, no, I wouldn't touch them until she's like, we gotta beat Reapers on gold, and so we had to do biotic combos, which we'll talk about later.
Right.
But I played the Asari, both Asari adepts, the regular and the Justicar, and now they're my two favorite to play. The two I would never touch are the two that I'm actually playing the most now, and I can adjust between them and the Human Sentinel now to what enemy we're fighting, what map we're playing with, and it's kind of nice to know, okay, what setup do I need? I'm not just going to stick with one and hope for the best. It's like, I have a tactic. I have a plan. And it's a lot funner than just picking one favorite and sticking with it.
Yeah. It's also interesting just noticing, like, at least like for myself, I mean, I love in the single player campaign, playing a sniper, grab my Black Widow, and just just lining up headshots, and I just tell Garrison Tally to look, just cover my back, make sure nothing gets around behind me, just I tell him to squat in one spot, and that's basically it. But it's been great, like hopping on and playing. I like my Quarian Engineer. Although I know they're a little bit weaker than some of the other classes, but just some of the stuff that they're like able to do, being able to drop a sentry turret in one spot and knowing that it's going to cover my back at least a little bit, especially once you get flamethrower and then you kind of see that little flash of red on the side. It's like, oh, someone's coming behind me, better turn around, So it's been really fun exploring new classes, and I keep thinking to myself, when I get over my apathy towards Mass Effect 3's single-player campaign, and I eventually turn around and actually start playing through the game, I'm going to really kind of explore some of the other classes again. So that's something I think it's certainly been a highlight for me in this. Now, moving on into these Mass Effect 3 tips, multiplayer tips, rather. One of the things that I've definitely found, especially in talking to you guys and enjoying Hold the Line and kind of making contacts for gaming, is playing with friends is a lot more fun than playing with totally random people.
Mm-hmm.
I can vouch for that for any game, including Mass Effect.
In general, yes. I mean, like myself, I've never really been much of a multiplayer player. I mean, I've played a few online games and so on. I mean, but if I play multiplayer, I'm playing FIFA or Madden, and I'm playing with my housemates or friends on the couch. I don't really play online. So when you play with folks you want to play with, it's easy to pass the ball, come up with tactics, and so on. And that certainly holds true, like obviously I guess in any multiplayer game, but certainly in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. Obviously I guess my suggestion here is, join Hold the Line and come on in and find the threads we have threads for Xbox, PC, and PS3. And now that PS3 players can actually get commendation packs and join the club, it should be interesting. But any other suggestions? I mean, do you guys ever approach like totally random people like, I'd like to play with you again? How do you guys or do you guys just use Hold the Line to meet other people to play with?
I do that all the time, actually. I just like
approach strangers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Okay. When you put it that way, it sounds horrible. Okay. But what I mean is, when you're playing online with randoms, you're just doing a quick match. If I see someone in a match that I think, oh, that guy looks like he's doing really well, like he knows his stuff, then I've added completely random strangers, yes, to my friends list on Origin, and for the most part, it has worked out.
Nice.
It is really good if you don't have like a place like HTL,
right,
or if you don't go on BSN very often, just play random matches. And I mean, if you seem like you're getting along with someone in the game pretty well, especially if they have like a mic and you're actually able to chat it up, then don't worry about adding them to your Origin. And what you really want to do is exactly that, make your own pool of capable players that you want to play multiplayer with, because it is a lot more enjoyable when you have people that you eventually get to know, kind of like us. We weren't friends prior to Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and then now it's like
we're enemies.
Yeah, we're enemies now, and I can't stand them. And the podcast right now. But
you know but you know your enemies, and that's like one of the that's one of Sun Tzu's rules.
See, yeah,
exactly.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Exactly.
I was the opposite with tanks. I would never do random or anything. In fact, when I got on the HTL to look for players, I was bored out of my mind because I traded 3 games in to get Mass Effect, so this is the only real game I could play, and being on economy everything, I'm broke, so this is my option.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I need to do something. I've been playing on random, I've had a few matches, I gotta find some people who actually just want to play steady. And so it was the first time I ever actually went out and ran something, and someone on the Facebook, I believe it says, go to HTL, they have multiplayer this or that. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's where I found Tanks and Aoshi, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. This is a lot better than playing with random people.
Nice. And Aoshi?
How do I answer this? I kind of just got onto HTL mainly because of, I've been following HTL as far as the whole ending scene.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't call it the scene, but kind of like the whole outcry.
Right.
But as far as multiplayer experience, I've always just kind of like, asked people if they have a mic, if they have some type of VoIP service. Like we as a group use Axon.
Right.
But like I know traditional groups, clans, guilds, all sorts of people, they'll use either like TeamSpeak or Ventrilo.
Right.
So I kind of usually went off of that. But just for Mass Effect, usually I find it more easier for people to kind of just introduce yourselves on HTL, the multiplayer thread, or whatever thread we're kind of spamming.
Right.
And kind of going from there, because then you have an idea of who you're talking to, and usually we kind of keep all our names the same, so that way people recognize, oh, this is who I was talking to. Right. So.
Yeah. One thing about talking to strangers and so on is one thing I've noticed in my limited amount of multiplayer play. One of the reasons it's always been limited is I remember having some horrible experiences with Call of Duty early on, where I basically met some of the world's most vile people online.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of those.
And I haven't come across that, at least in the random games that I've joined in on for multiplayer. I have been kicked from games before, but mostly because they saw that I was like an N7 rank 40 jumping into a gold game. And I can totally see why they would kick me for that, or at least early on. but I haven't come across like anyone who's been, mean or yelling at me over, voice chat or whatever. So far it's been a positive experience. I don't think have any of you guys had a negative experience with randoms or no?
No.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Nope.
I haven't heard too many complaints, so.
And the great thing about Hold the Line is how we're moving forward and such. I hope to see even more people with different games I buy that I can post on forums and get some friends as well, because Hold the Line's got some really great people.
Right.
Everybody's got bad eggs, but Hold the Line's got a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
And
No, I totally agree. Absolutely. Well, moving on with these, making friends and so on. We've kind of also gone over, hey, learn your classes and get everything straightened out. One quick question I had was, as you play through and you complete these missions and you gain credits, I kind of want to go over, number one, there's every 3rd round, 6th round, and the 10th round are special rounds in multiplayer where they give you certain objectives in multiplayer, and those are the ones that actually earn you credits, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so those are the ones that actually you get credits. So I kind of want to go over 2 things here. Number 1, what those special rounds are, and number 2, how to spend your credits. Aoshi, maybe you want to start this one off.
When I was playing the demo, just to kind of throw that out there, it was really kind of hard to call these type of objectives. So I just call them, special missions, special
Right.
objectives, however you want to name them. But basically, yeah, what you're able to do is they'll throw a random objective, whether it's hey, disarm this, or hey, hack into that, or kill this guy, and you have to kill a number of those objectives, and once you complete them, they guarantee you a certain amount of credits depending on the difficulty. Now, of course, tying into that, if they're pretty tough, you usually kind of have to run around the map quite a bit. But if you're playing on, say, something like bronze, it's fairly easy. You can kind of just pretty much sit on your butt and just have them come to you. But that's basically to kind of sum it up. But
Right.
And it is timed. Thanks, Quad.
Yeah.
Little high five there. But yeah, you have to do all those things in, I think it varies, but I think they're all under like 3 minutes. And as you complete them, you do get like a time bonus, kind of like a racing game. So they add like 30 seconds to it, 40 seconds. So, it is kind of an incentive to, hey, let's get this done, not worry about those guys necessarily so much.
Right.
But, yeah.
And
Well,
just
not
to
only
be-
that, but the guys constantly respawn until you complete it. They don't stop coming.
Right, exactly. You do have to complete the objectives before the enemies in that round stop respawning. And just real quick to go over the 3 different types of objectives. One of them is the hack, which basically try to get as many players as possible to stay inside a certain zone, and the characters in that zone. The more players you have in that zone, the faster the progress bar fills up.
Not only that, but the closer you are to the computer itself.
Oh, really?
Yes, the closer you are to the computer, the faster it goes, and the more experience points you get.
That's certainly good to know. I should maybe stop hanging around the edges. And then the other one of the other ones is they will send 4 enemies that are marked that need to be taken down in a certain time period. Now, that's one of those missions where it gives you about 3 minutes, but when you take down the first one, they seem to add like an extra 25-30 seconds to that timer again, so you can take out the second one, and you only have to take out 4 of them. Of course, it's getting to those 4 that can sometimes be difficult. And then the last one is to either like disarm or get to 4 objects. And then those 4 objects are usually are randomized throughout the map. They don't all show up at once, so you have to go to the first one, disarm or collect the first one. That's time. It takes about 5 seconds or so, 5 to 10 seconds. And then once you get that one, you move on to the next one. So you never know where the second, the third one, the fourth one are on the map.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's the worst.
Yeah, well, you see, this is one of the reasons I love playing Infiltrator sometimes, because that's like when those come up, it's like that's Infiltrator shine time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, spending your credits when you complete these objectives, those are the ones that specifically earn you credits on the mission. And Tanks, any suggestions on how to spend your credits wise, especially with early on when you're first kind of learning and getting through?
Well, you should probably take all your credits and then go to Omega and buy a couple Batarians. That's great. But that's how I spend my credits. But some other people just don't really like to do that kind of thing, I guess. I don't know why.
Right.
But if you're just starting out, yeah, I would say go ahead and get the recruit pack so you can get a couple items. Obviously, they're a lot cheaper. And to get some of those lower level weapon upgrades, like your katana and stuff. When I first started, they didn't have the Spectre pack in the demo that I remember. But so when the full release came out and I started playing multiplayer again, I saw the Spectre packs and I was like, ooh, Spectre pack, they're obviously better. So I would save up 60k playing only bronze, and then I would buy it. And yeah, sure, you get one rare item, but usually it's not that great. Maybe a weapon you don't use, and then you'll get upgrades for weapons that you don't use, and then you don't get a lot of items. So I would definitely suggest that you start off with the recruit packs first, and then move on to your vet packs once you start doing silver, and maybe even not when you start doing silver. Like if you're still not quite comfortable with moving up to a higher difficulty level, then you can probably spend more credits on recruit packs. Still, I know a lot of people have a little system. They'll buy I think it's 1 vet pack and 2 recruit packs.
Uh-huh.
And they'll keep rotating like that until they're able to start doing golds and get those Spectre packs. And of course, right now they have premium Spectre packs and jumbo equipment packs in the store. And the jumbo equipment packs are what we are farming gold for, because they give you so many items. We're getting 7 metagels and rocket or Cobra missile launchers, and those
Right.
are really helpful on gold when you're in a bind.
Yeah, you won't get any weapons out of the jumbo equipment, but if you've been doing a lot of gold runs and you've been kind of spamming all the other items to kind of make sure you finish those runs, yeah, you're gonna need those while they have them up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I ended up being 2 the last time they offered those jumbo equipment packs, and I basically never run out of the spare ammo ones, and I think I have enough metagel to last me a lifetime. I never have enough Cobra missiles though.
And it's for me, I have enough Cobra missiles, I don't have enough meta packs, and that's why you always want to get the jumbo equipment packs when they come out with them, because they don't come out with them all the time.
Right, they seem to
Get
rotate them on on a 2-week basis or week 2-week basis.
Get them while they're hot.
Yeah. Now, one thing I did notice is 2 little things here. It takes about 4 bronze missions to be able to afford a Spectre pack. And it takes about 2 silver missions to get a Spectre pack. And 1 gold mission will give you enough credits to get a Spectre pack. At least to put that within some sort of relative, how much you're earning per...
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Because I know early on myself, I actually didn't, because I wasn't, when I first started playing, I didn't really kind of have anyone to play with. I was playing with randoms for the most part. And I was constantly saving up for premium packs. Now, I did unlock a lot more classes that way, or I seem to unlock classes fairly quickly that way. Because I think I'm only missing 2 or 3 classes now. But I was able to get a bunch of upgrades of those classes and so on. But one thing, and I was great. I got my black, and I didn't get a black widow. I got a widow, which was awesome. I think I have a widow 4 now. But I haven't been able to find anything that I love sniper rifles and pistols. I have a handful of pistols and a handful of sniper rifles. I have, however, unlocked every single shotgun in the game. And I think I have all of them at about 3, if not higher. And I hate shotguns.
Hey, they're not bad.
They're not bad, don't get me wrong.
I like shotguns.
You'd be
Katana
surprised.
10, son.
the Grawl spike thrower. You can almost kind of snipe with that a little bit because of the.
No, yeah, sure. Rub it in my face, Aoshi. Go ahead. Talk about the spike thrower that I don't have.
Hey, but for
Do
me,
tell.
the spike thrower doesn't work at all. I don't know what
Oh,
it is,
yeah.
but anything with those projectiles that stick in, they don't work as well with other people. I don't know why.
I don't know.
but
It was doing great when I was doing the Solarian Engineer and just hey, headshot.
well, that's the great thing though about the multiplayer is it's very diverse. and you
Absolutely.
can have what you prefer.
Yeah, I mean I've seen some crazy builds. I've watched some of Tank's videos when she's running around with her human sentinel with a shotgun, but not wearing tech
yes.
armor. And so
Oh,
like
no.
for me that was just like, whoa, what are you doing with the shotgun? Because why aren't you hanging way in the back and just using
Blowing
throw?
people's heads off, that's what.
Well, obviously.
To kind of interject in there,
Yeah.
basically from us playing the Sentinel so much, we actually just don't even use tech armor anymore. Not because we're not trying to be careful or whatnot, but it actually slows down your power usage. So if we're running around with 180 to 200%, tech armor actually drops down 60%.
Ah, right.
So, especially if we're doing the biotic artillery mode, where all four of us are either playing adepts or sentinels or however we have it set up. I guess you could say the damage per second output, to get a little technical there, is so much more effective than just trying to kind of soak all the damage and just hold.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned today playing earlier with tanks and quad. Playing my sentinel, I totally felt like a boss for once, which was great. I wasn't a big fan of the sentinels like tech armor slowing down their powers. That's a new addition to Mass Effect 3 because it didn't do that in Mass Effect 2. And in Mass Effect 2, when I played through single players as a sentinel, it was basically playing on God mode. So I can understand why they kind of added it. But it's definitely interesting in multiplayer not using basically the Sentinel's, I guess keynote power, the one thing that that sells the class. It's kind of avoid it, or you don't have to avoid it, but you can definitely play without it and get an awesome adept style class.
Yeah, but on
That's what
top
we-
of that, I mean, like, using tech armor on the human sentinel might not be such a great idea, but then using it on the Krogan sentinel might be a completely different story because they're not really, it's not really as important for them to pull off those biotic combos and stuff like you can with the human sentinel.
Ah, very true.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to know your powers. I mean, pretty much before I didn't know how to use powers at all, and I really didn't understand it. And I started seeing the whole, oh, my powers are 65366, and for those who don't know what those numbers mean, it's the amount of times you upgraded a power. So, for example, 66066 could mean I upgraded my level 6 for tech power, level 6 for warp, 0 for throw, and then 6 for my alliance abilities and 6 for my fitness. But that's what I always did, was the 6s and then kick the power out. And I found that through tanks that she showed me, there's better ways you can do this. It actually is more beneficial on some classes to have a spread like 65366. Like my Asari Adept is set up, I believe, 63656, and it dominates. I don't even use a weapon for that Asari because its throw is doing more damage than my guns. I'm just constantly spamming it every second, and it's doing more damage than my guns. And so I was like, okay, I'll just carry a SMG for the time being to make my weight lower.
Right.
And that's why it's very important to know your powers and to ask the question, why does this do this? Why are they giving me the option of this or this? It's really gives you a lot of options of what do you want your class for, and you should focus on a theme for that class and not just say, oh, I just want a bunch of shields and that's it. Why do you want those shields?
Gotcha.
We're following the ways of Marauder Shields. Just kidding.
Never forget.
All right. Well, I guess I want to go ahead and just jump into, because one of the things I've been able to or feel more comfortable attempting since I've been playing with you guys is jumping into gold matches, and attempting these. Now, this is, this podcast, we're kind of just covering some basic tips and tricks, but one of the things you can look forward to, I guess, is kind of covers just some of the basics of playing playing early on in gold. Obviously, I think you want to start off with at least a character that's over, I'd say, level 15 or 16 before you start jumping into gold matches. And also, you kind of want to play with friends, or at least people you can talk to and feel comfortable playing with, or you're able to say, hey, cover me here, or that you feel comfortable with someone yelling at to a certain degree. But I kind of want to open up to you guys, kind of just some basics on some gold tips.
I think Tanks has definitely the best for this, because she's, let's say, she has told us time and time again, stick together, teamwork. That's the main thing to beat gold.
All right. Well, Tanks,
Yep.
take it away.
Well, basically, there's one thing that you can always keep in mind if you always want to beat gold, and that's if you don't play like a jackass, you'll probably beat gold. So if you're running out there in the middle of nowhere, then of course you're going to get mowed down by, if you're playing Cerberus, turrets, or you're going to go get grabbed by a banshee, or you're going to, just basically go get your ass kicked. And you really, I wouldn't say that you all have to stick together. There's always times where I've played some gold matches where, you'll have an infiltrator and they'll go camp the complete opposite end of the map while the three of you stay together, and they'll be just fine by themselves, and that's okay.
Uh-huh.
But for us, when we're playing Reapers on gold and we're all biotics, we all just kind of move. Unless we're playing Glacier, we split up.
Uh-huh.
We do split up on that map, and that's another thing to mention, that it is different on different maps with different enemies. But when we're all playing biotics on gold, we all just kind of move in one giant force. We all four of us stick together, and we're just spamming everything and pulling off those biotic combos, and it's pretty much an easy win for us. But yeah, in terms of general tips, that's pretty much the best way that I could put it. If you don't play like a jackass, then, and
Gotcha.
you are helping
I
your
think what
teammates.
Yeah. Sorry.
And there will be those times where it's someone goes down and they're surrounded by 5 pyros. Don't, unless you have a missile launcher to use, don't run out in there without a plan first. Maybe get one guy to pull the enemies away so that you can go in and help your down teammate. Stuff like that. Basically, just use some common sense.
All
Well,
right.
yeah, and also with that, if you're in a sticky situation of you're surrounded by 2 brutes, 2 banshees, they're going to kill you as soon as you get resurrected anyways, it's okay to even say, you know what, guys, let me be. I will use a meta pack if you draw them away. Or, you know what, let me die because it's better for the team.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I should have yelled that out a little earlier sometimes when we were playing, because I was definitely kind of I just went down because I ran into 3 brutes and a banshee, so don't come rescue me. All right, and one thing I do want to note is I'm going to put up these great notes that you guys compiled, and one of the things you guys did put in there was the easy gold run using Firebase White versus Geth, which really only requires having a Solarian Engineer and a Infiltrator. And I'll put those notes up. I don't think we necessarily need to go over it on the podcast itself, but it just kind of gives a basic rundown of a simple map to use versus a specific enemy with a couple of specific classes. And I kind of would just want to touch base on just a quick little bit of some tips if you're a guy, if you have a group of friends and you kind of want to take on a specific enemy type. Just what suggestions you have for, say, versus Reapers, versus Cerberus, and versus Geth. Aoshi.
I I can't say that I'm the expert in this. This is
It's
another
not
tank
expert,
question,
yeah,
but
okay.
I would say, more than anything, aside from, knowing your role, equipment, I would say the most important thing for anything would be pretty much communication.
Okay.
We don't know if you're running off somewhere or, doing this, or if you need ammo. Just a lot of the things that we kind of covered earlier, they kind of all tie into kind of reaching into that, getting that gold run done. So if you're used to playing against, Reapers, the Geth, or Cerberus on like lower difficulties, you can kind of get an idea like, okay, obviously if it's going to get harder, they're going to be harder to kill. So, a lot of the same tactics don't work. So you kind of have to take that into account too. Like, okay, well, like how Tank was saying, for some of the other things, we would just move as a group, or if we have a infiltrator and a Solarian engineer, we'll kind of have to coordinate, and that, like I said, that kind of all kind of ties into communication. So trying to set up choke points, or hey, we're gonna start going this way, or hey, there's something just spawned right behind us, we gotta move. Things like that will definitely help out. I mean, it's not necessarily that we have a big secret to kind of deal with these particular mobs,
right?
But it's more of the communication part that's going to probably be the best advice that I can give right now.
Okay. Yeah, I like I said, I'm just trying to go just some of the basic stuff. Tanks. Any tips on taking down particular kinds of enemies?
Well, like how she said, I think teamwork, communication, all that jazz. Not playing like a douchebag. You can pretty much beat gold on any map, any enemy, with any class combination that you ever could possibly want. If you want to play with 4 soldiers, then go do it with 4 soldiers. That's why they have challenges like the Krogan challenge, which is, it was actually invented during the demo, where you all play as Krogans, or the Drell challenge, which I actually did, where you play as all Drell, because a lot of people were giving Drell crap because of the Drell Vanguard wasn't really the best class. But yeah, in general terms, well, obviously for Reapers, they just kind of like with biotics, and when you're pulling off those biotic combos and you're just hitting them with stuff like warp, they will just melt with biotics. And then the opposite goes for Geth. If you're using stuff like overload and energy drain, they're highly susceptible to those skills in particular, more so than Reapers would be.
Right.
So kind of like just look at your skills, what you have. If you're playing like random, in other words, like on a random map with random enemies, then you don't really know what you're gonna get. So you can't really be like, oh, obviously we're playing Geth, so I should play a Solarian engineer or a Geth engineer. So you just kind of have to be prepared, no matter what enemy that you're going to fight against. And I mean, you could totally do anything that you want versus any enemy, as long as you're not playing like a douchebag. That's my key rule right there.
Key rule: don't be a douchebag.
Do not be a douchebag. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
It really is, because when we started playing, Aoshi always played as a human soldier, which I know a lot of people don't really think is that ideal, I guess, which I mean, it's not a bad class, but it's not that ideal for gold. You could like switch it out for like a Solarian infiltrator and do better, but it doesn't really matter, because what's most important, honestly, is having fun.
Right.
And if you're not having fun playing a Solarian engineer and being the decoy bitch, then don't play the Solarian engineer. Play whatever you want to play.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I can totally see, because I mean, I certainly have, like I say, I love playing my Quarian engineer, but I definitely know there's plenty of times where like I feel useless because there's only so many enemies you can freeze, and but at the same time it's still useful, to everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's where the teamwork aspect comes in, especially when I know that I'm not getting the kills, or I'm not getting the high kill count, but I just froze 3 guys so that the guy playing the soldier was able to take them out with his revenant real quick.
Exactly.
So
And that goes double for when we're doing stuff with biotics. When we're doing like Reaper's Gold with all 4 biotics, we always have 2 people who set up and then 2 people who detonate. And obviously the people who set up are the ones who are getting the kills, but it's the people who are detonating that are making it possible. So,
Right.
you know, the scores, if you know that your teammates are doing their job, then the scores mean absolutely nothing.
right. Right. And one thing about the scores not really meaning anything is that at the end, when you finish a map, whether you succeed or fail, it gives you a breakdown of kind of who earned the most experience or who earned the most points. It also tells you like who got how many kills, how many assists, headshots, and so on. But no matter what, all that experience gets totaled, and everyone gets the same amount of experience, and everyone gets the same amount of credits.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter how well you do specifically or individually. It's all about the group effort.
There is actually one thing that you do get a little bit of experience, and that's when you do more of your little awards. And that's like 50 kills or whatever, but it really is minor.
Gotcha.
It is a very minor thing. People, they want to get those achievements, but it's like, do it in bronze if you want to get those little achievements. They don't mean anything. It's minor experience compared to the group experience you can get when you beat a gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like some personal things that I do, for example, for preparing for enemies, if you're actually not doing random, because how Tanks and Yoshi, if you're doing random, that's exactly what you need to do. If you're specifically wanting to do a tactic type of way, it's right along the lines what Tank was saying. For Cerberus, they're probably the most well-balanced type in the middle, and so almost anything will work for Cerberus, but they will also have good resistances against it, except for one, and that's stasis, or stasis bubble. That is their greatest weakness, period. And it's because of the phantoms. Atlases are just big and bad, and it takes forever to kill them. They're not that bad if you know how to use cover very well, which is the most important thing in multiplayer, cover. But stasis bubble against those phantoms, and they're done. For Geth, it's exactly what Tank said, a lot of tech explosions and combos. We have, as you're going to post this page for them to read, combos are big.
Yes, and I'm going to be posting up a guide to combos as well, which kind of covers like which specific powers and also ammo types will affect combos, and kind of like what to aim for. So if you have a particular class you want to play, what kind of ammo type you may want to use with them, and if you know your buddy's playing another class, what combinations you can go for.
Like, for example, if you're going to go for Geth, obviously disruptor rounds, but also cryo rounds. I don't know what it is, but it slows the heck out of them, all of them. Yeah. They all bow down to cryo, and so that works really well. And for Reapers, armor piercing and incinerary, it really does tear them up as well. So those abilities and weapon powers really work well against those, especially overload, energy drain for Geth, and biotics, like Tank said, biotic combos, biotic explosions. Memorize those, because that's how you destroy the Reapers on gold.
Right, and also tech combos work.
Yes, and that's great for Geth.
Right. Okay, well, we're getting a little long here, so I just want to start wrapping things up and getting towards the end. So one of the things, obviously, as BioWare continues to develop DLC, they've obviously said they're going to keep supporting multiplayer DLC. They came out with the Resurgence pack recently, which gave us the Batarians and the Geth as playable character types, and they also gave us 2 maps, Condor, which is the kind of like the uphill battle one, and then the I forget the name of the Hydra, thank you, of the Hydra power plant. I love that Hydra map. I hate Condor.
I'm the same way. I love Hydra, and I absolutely hate
Condor's more of a up close in your face type of map, even though it's not as small as what that ice one that we did with Cerberus.
Glacier.
Yeah.
It's
a little more spread out, but it doesn't take that much time for them to be in your face.
Oh my goodness. Because yeah, I mean, I'll go like I like sniping, and I'll run. Oh, let me grab the high ground and snipe. Nope, not gonna happen. It's definitely a tough map to play, and against any type. I think I've come across. I've played against all 3 different types on that map. I've noticed I've had the hardest time against Reapers and Geth on that map, but Cerberus as well are just as hard. But Hydra, I love the layout. I feel like there's plenty of like high ground, low ground to take, and there's even like a couple little rooms off to the side, so you can kind of get some cover. So that I think that's a very well balanced map. But obviously, there's going to be more maps and stuff coming out. But I've been wondering what you guys would like to see from further multiplayer DLC.
The cover and the action buttons are different. Oh my gosh!
I think that's a unanimous.
I'm running. No, I'm in cover. No, I'm running. No, cover.
I know, right? Especially when you're trying to pick people up off the floor.
It's the cover and resurrecting somebody.
Oh, that too. Oh,
yes.
boy.
If you die next to an objective, just say goodnight. Goodbye. Like
No,
those freaking 4-part
resurrect.
objectives.
No,
Oh my
resurrect.
god.
No, resurrect.
I know.
So a way to separate those 2 keys or options would definitely be cool. Anything else you guys are looking forward to? Since that was an obvious unanimous decision.
I would say, I've said it from the demo. Initially, this game, the multiplayer portion was really nice to have.
Uh-huh.
But with a lot of games that have that sort of same similarity with, say to bring up another game, Call of Duty Zombies as an example, it can get old.
Uh-huh.
I mean, with multiplayer, it only has 10 rounds. With them, it goes on pretty much until you drop. I would say, this game would do a whole lot better if they can figure out another mode that might fit into the Mass Effect universe. That would be definitely probably a good welcome to give a lot more replay value for people who enjoy, the game.
Uh-huh. Sorry, I totally got distracted because I saw a thing about a Batarian whorehouse pop up in the chat. And I missed about 30 seconds of what you said, Aoshi, because I was trying not to laugh really hard. So forgive me. Apparently Tanks just really wants a Batarian whorehouse to be... Although, I will say that would make for an awesome map.
Yeah.
Just going room to room. Yeah.
That would be Omega.
Yeah, certainly though, more game modes, I guess, would be interesting. I mean, it's co-op. I think it's going to stay co-op. I'm not sure you could really introduce any sort of like PvP kind of stuff.
Oh, no, I didn't necessarily mean like a type of team deathmatch, because that's how basically the mobs pretty much spawn on multiplayer. It's pretty much like a team deathmatch type of spawning deal. But what I meant was kind of like anything besides just the whole horde coming at you, like I don't know, maybe
Capture
something on a ship perhaps, or anything is possible with Mass Effect. But I mean, something a little bit more than just this.
No, I hear you. Well, one of the things.
What about just all objectives instead of hordes coming after you? You have 5 straight objectives you have to complete instead, or something different.
Yeah, I could certainly see something like that. Or just changing. I'd also like to see new types of objectives. Something besides just sit in one spot and pray you don't get wiped out. I mean, hack, or pray you have an infiltrator. I mean, go get 4 things. Like I would like to see a few other types.
Escort missions.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. That took the words right out of my mouth. I definitely like an escort mission. I would.
Shut up, Quad.
Yeah.
Don't give them any idea.
I know I would hate it too, but it's something different.
It's something different. Yeah, I was actually thinking the exact same thing. I was like, maybe like one of your teammates, like at random, gets targeted. Like all the mobs are gonna go towards that guy, and you have to
VIP status.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
he can't die or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
God, that would suck. They should put it in.
Escort. I'd also like to see some sort of like. I don't want to say capture the flag, but capture the flag. It's like, all right.
Or King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. Yeah, I could
protect the shuttle.
Protect the shuttle, but the kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh! I just remembered one more thing.
Yeah.
I think we kind of slightly agreed on this when we were playing that one game. Air support.
Ah.
Ah,
We want to call in airstrikes.
maybe not in this mode, but if they got a different mode, you could call in the shuttle to give you a few airstrikes on a one-time chance through the whole map, not like your rockets, but you each have one chance to say we need air support on these freaking banshees who just won't die
Right.
because all my teammates are dead because they all got grabbed. So now it's just me. I need this shuttle. Get the heck in here and blow these guys because I can't take them out.
Yes. Yeah, that would definitely it would change things up also because for whatever reason I can't seem to hit the broadside of a barn with my rockets. So I can't tell you, I've easily wasted half my rockets, and I've learned today I should aim for the ground.
Aim for
I
the
was gonna
ground.
Even
say
that
that.
you can miss.
Aim with their feet, son. That's what
Yes.
you're supposed to do.
Yep, and a lot of people. I think a lot of people. The reason why is because they think if you hit the ground, it won't do full damage. Best thing to do is hit the ground in between them all, because it's got a good range
Yeah.
to take them all out.
Blast is kind of small though when you aim it. So what I do is I usually just charge and aim at the ground.
Okay, that was kind of because I figured it out. I think by my third or fourth wasted shot earlier today. That by the time I aimed at the ground, it's like, oh, I took out 3 guys in one blow. Like, and it was like 2 brutes. I'm like, yeah, and a cannibal, whatever.
And they respawn.
Yes,
Yeah.
they promptly respawned because it was yay, we've only got 2 of the 4 objectives done.
Don't use rockets during those objectives if you can help it.
Right, save
You
them.
gotta save them, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, something I want to bring up for multiplayer.
Uh-huh.
I also would like to see. I can understand if they don't do the Krogan, but the Turian and the Batarian, give them sidestep. For crying out loud, they're not stupid enough to stand there. They know how to sidestep like the Geth do.
Yeah.
Garrus
Bugs
did.
me. So Garrus knows how to roll, and they don't even give the Turians that. So at least give them a sidestep.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder if that's an animation thing for those models, and that's why they haven't done it.
I don't know. They did that in one of the cutscenes when you're fighting on the Citadel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Garrus does roll around, doesn't he?
Garrus or that other CSEC guy.
Yeah. Huh.
And they had a car flying over them.
That's right. Okay. Huh. One thing I know, and this is kind of outside of like map stuff and game mode types. I would love to see a Drell infiltrator who uses biotic powers instead of tech powers.
good point.
I mean, it's basically Thane, but I would love to see multiplayer Thane. That's just one of my things. I kept looking when I saw like the various infiltrator stuff. I mean, I'm glad to be able to play the Quarian one and play the Solarian infiltrators. Great.
That's a good point. I think we should bring this up too because of the whole the hint towards the new character or character type that's going to come along.
Right. They mentioned there was a bit of a leaked info. I mean, I'm not sure how much of it is legit. It's kind of hard to tell, but I guess they're saying there's a couple new classes coming out, and there's I guess people are suspecting that the Phoenix race is the Prothean.
I hope not. I really
either.
hope not.
Yeah,
That would screw things up.
it really does, and not only that, it kind of belittles Javik's role in the game.
It really does.
Which
Yes.
is.
Yeah,
I mean,
for those who got the DLC.
Right. which if you haven't, and I know this is a discussion for another time because I can understand why people were upset, especially specifically to Javik. This is unlike other day one DLCs. Javik is kind of central to the story, or at least he adds so much more to the story. It's unlike, I don't know if you guys ever played Dragon Age 2, but
I have.
yeah, well, you can get Sebastian as day one DLC. Sebastian sucks, and he doesn't add anything except for
Aw.
at the very, very end, he's the only one who says what's on everybody's mind. Why don't we just kill Anders right now? He's right here.
Yeah.
It's like there's no need to go to war. We got the guy right here.
Yep.
Oh,
He's like, why are we all talking about this when the guy who
Yes.
started it all is right in front of us?
Right, so
And
as
I
much
was
as-
like, I was like, ah, man.
I was gonna mention something that was brought up with one of our other teammates that we usually game with for multiplayer. Is that she was saying that, you know, hopefully as a suggestion they might add more customization options for the characters that you play. A lot of the times like I understand like a lot of the characters are like kind of like rehashed NPCs that we're playing. You can kind of see in the textures, but like, you know, armor options, different things besides just the colors and the lights, you know, just more personalization would definitely be welcome for
afros,
you know,
for Arturians. Definitely.
Yeah, afros.
Nice. Are we going to go the Team Fortress route and just have hats? More hats and mustaches?
Well, if I want my Turian to look like Garrus from that funny Neon video, then, you know, that's my prerogative.
Yeah, yeah. Or the really polite Krogan. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I want a monocle.
A monocle and a top hat.
Batarian.
Now, how does that work once again for Batarians? I mean, do you get one monocle or do you get two monocles just for one side?
Well, yeah, you'd have to keep the symmetry up, so I guess you'd need two monocles, which if they charged extra for that, that would be totally uncalled for.
Yeah.
$5.99.
What the heck?
Well, all right. Well, is there anything else you guys can think of? You guys want to speak up about multiplayer?
If anybody wants to have a better, easy look, if those who don't know at your equipment that you're getting and what level, because sometimes it will glitch up in the store, but you'll still get the items. Multiplayer Manifest is on the BSN, BioWare Social Network, and that gives you all of your information on your multiplayer weapons and unlocks.
And that's now is that the Multiplayer Manifest? Is that where you go into your BSN and you log in? You can take a look at what you have, or is that a website?
Yes. What you have, you go into your BSN, log in, whatever. They currently have it on the front page under the features and stuff. You click on it, you select your PC version or PlayStation 3 or Xbox version, whatever, and it'll have weapons, weapon mods, characters, and consumables, and it will tell you exactly what you've unlocked, what you have not unlocked, and if they're common, uncommon, rare, ultra rare, which is the N7 rares, and the promotionals. It'll tell you all that. Cool.
Good to know. Oh, I got a quick question about these ultra rare N7 stuff. I think I've unlocked the N7 shotgun and the pistol, and I never used them in the single player. I haven't quite come across seen their usefulness in multiplayer. Have you guys used them at all? The N7 weapons?
I just got the Crusader, but I haven't used it yet.
I know Blue does. He uses the Hurricane, and I tried it once, and it is nice for close range. It's just one of those personal preference things again.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have a Hurricane as well. I think I have the Hurricane, the shotgun, and the pistol. Still don't have a sniper rifle, but...
Are you talking about the promotional ones, or just the,
the
N7 in general? Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the ultra rare.
It's the ultra rare N7.
Well, just in general, they have the promotional ones that you get from the commendation packs, or just the normal ones that you can get from Spectre packs.
Black Widow, Talon, Scorpion, those are ultra rares.
Like the Javelin, I know a lot of people like.
Promotionals are Crusader, Hurricane, Eagle, Valiant, and so those are the promotional ones.
Okay. I really want a Black Widow. BioWare, if you listen to this, my screen name's Awesomologist. Send me a Black Widow.
Give Tanks a Scorpion. She's been trying the hardest to get it.
Actually, just one.
I want the Javelin.
One quick thing. Future stuff for DLC. I would love to see a trade system. Because I have shotguns galore, tanks. I can give you a Scorpion and a Grawl spike thrower.
I know. I have a Javelin.
I can give you.
You have a Scorpion, don't you?
I would so give it to you, and I would give you. And it's level 2, so I would give you the level 2 for a level 1 Javelin.
Yeah.
2 for 1 deal.
I think some sort of trade system would be on, especially because they base this off of like collectible card stuff.
Yeah.
Or at least it's that style. I mean, I
understand why they don't. And it's kind of a jackass move, but I understand why they don't have a trade system.
Or at least do a
place.
marketplace kind of thing where you can,
Yeah.
you know, sell it back and get credits, because I am never going to use some of the shotguns I have.
I have a feeling if I sold it back, though, I'd just end up getting it twofold.
Or even this,
My
like
next one.
the certain, let's say, you know, you're getting a common, which commons come out of the recruit pack. So instead of getting a common recruit random pack for 5,000, you have to pay five times as much to choose which one you want.
Yes.
And like uncommons will be 4 times as much, and rares would be 3 times as much.
Yeah.
Something like, and then, you know, ultra rares would probably be 3 times as much again. Just so you would have to pay an extreme amount.
Right.
But at least you get to pick what you would actually.
I think the only way that would ever happen is if you had to pay real money to get specific weapons.
Right. And
instead of in-game credits.
I will say this, and as much as I want to support BioWare to some extent, there's really no need to spend money on BioWare points. Between doing enough silvers and golds already, like, you get credits fairly quickly to get some of these packs. Although I guess early on, if you have the BioWare credits, you may as well spend them to get a few recruit packs or those jumbo packs if they're around at the time.
Well, to kind of make it easier for people, I mean, the amount of effort that you put in to do bronze takes you about, a good 15-20 minutes?
Right.
In that same amount of time, you could pretty much get, 3 times that money? Or what is it, 15, 4 times that money doing golds for the same amount of time, as long as you have a good team.
A good team, right, exactly.
And that kind of ties into what you were saying about, you know, the Spectre packs and whatnot. So, but, you know, obviously you want to do your bronzes first, so that way you get all your basic stuff out of the way.
Right. All right, well, listen, guys, thank you very much. I know this went on a little bit long, but like I said, I'll be editing this down a little bit anyways, and try to get this down to about an hour. And we'll definitely take out the 5 minutes where we completely lost Benny. So I'll say goodbye for Benny. Unfortunately, she was dropped out of the conversation, could not seem to get back online, it seems. But we'll figure out what happened to Benny, and hopefully she's not lost. So yeah, this is Mike, aka Awesomologist, for Hold the Line Podcast, and have a good night, everybody. Good night.
Yay. Night. Good night, everybody.
Good
We
night,
love you.
Libertarians.